Uneasy TV. Everybody knows Kevin Samuels for his infamous interview where he tells the woman, "You're average at best." And the other quote, "You will die alone." But man, so we know that about Kevin and his ratings of women and, different philosophies, modern women. But let's get to who is Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels basically was born in March 13th, 1965 in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma, man. According to one interview, he says that his mom, he was basically on his mom's side. He was the only child, and that his father lived in OKC, but they didn't really have a deep relationship. They would only see each other like on certain holidays and significant birthdays. He basically described his father as being a Rolling Stone. And if anybody know what a Rolling Stone is, it's that old Temptation song. And if you never heard it, here we go. Me. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he lay his hat was his home. And when he died, he said his papa was a Rolling Stone, Jack. He said his pops had over like maybe up to 10 kids, man. He said some of them he knew, some of them he never met, and some of them he met later on in years. Oh my God. His upbringing, man, wasn't really that glamorous, man. He grew up in the projects, but he said growing up in the projects, he didn't, go hungry, and he didn't remember having any struggles. So then he graduated from Millwood High School. Then he later attended University of Oklahoma, where he majored in chemical engineering. However, he dropped out of college, not because he couldn't make it, not because it was hard. It was, he went through awkward situations. Nah, he got cancer, man. He got cancer at the age of 21. Then he went through 8 months of chemotherapy. So he bounces back, he moves to Houston, and he gets a job in a research lab. He said, but he didn't like it. He said that he hated it because he was in the office all the time. He was more of a people's person. So he felt like, hey, let me get a second job, which was a great move because that's where he became a waiter at some restaurant that's associated with Papa Do's, or it's Papa Do's, I'm not sure. So being there, he started talking to different customers, and they, suggested to him he needs to get into corporate sales. So he got different jobs at .com, and then he became a business development manager for Office Depot. I mean, he paid his dues before the dude you guys see now. He paid his dues. Then about like 2009, he starts working at a media company called IDARC, and that's when the image consultant light bulb bing comes on. The image consultant light bulb comes on. Then he starts his own image consultant company. Oh, and that's where he starts taking off. Wait. Before we keep going into his career, I want to dive deep into his personal business. I'm a little nosy. I want to know how he know all this information about being married and all this, because he was married actually twice. He was married twice. His first marriage, he was married to his high school sweetheart. He said he known her since the 4th grade. The 4th grade. That means he was in the sandbox chilling with her, man. He knew her since then. That's a beautiful thing. However, that marriage only lasted 1 year. And he just explained, that he didn't want to. He actually didn't explain. He didn't want to tell their business. He said because they're real cool right now, but they do have one child. Now, what is it, a boy or a girl? I'm not sure. The rumor is a girl or a boy. I don't know. I don't know about too much of his what the child is. And then he got married again maybe 6 to 7 years later His second marriage, he didn't get any kids from it, but it lasted a little longer. It was about 3 years, and his problem with the divorce, he didn't want to get into it. He's very private about his marriage. He said it was basically irreconcilable differences. Basically, the spouses cannot get along to keep the marriage, to keep it short and plain. So that's how he ended his last marriage, and he's very private with his marriages, and you can't get too much information unless you get a PI on it, and then you can find out what really happened. Fast forward, man. In 2015, he finally releases his YouTube channel. It does very well. However, it doesn't jump off the atmosphere into 2020, when he did the infamous interview, a 23-minute interview about telling a woman she wasn't a 10 and that she was average at best, and that eventually she will die alone. Then this March of 2021, he basically said that he called a woman bigger than a running back. Then he explains why he said it. He said because she was 5'8" and she was 220. And he said if you look at some of the greats, Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith, one weighed 203 pounds and one weighed at 218 pounds, which she was bigger than a running back. So he say these different things about women, and women are going crazy. They're going buck wild. They're so angry at Kevin. Mainly because they consider insults, but mainly because he has come with a formula called the high value man. He said he didn't create that term, but this is his definition of what a high value man consists of. He said basically a high value man, it starts off with his money. He has to have money. He has to make about 10K per month. He has to make at least 100K or 120 whatever K a month or more. And he said the second thing, he has to have that money going, which he called length of time. And he said you got to have this money from a length of time between 3 to 5 years. You know, basically, you want to show people that you got consistency of making money, or they won't trust you. Then the third principle basically is a group of acceptance. This group of acceptance is basically like a fraternity, a club, a secret society of high value men. They come together and they separate themselves from the other men. And then they go into number four. Number four is networking, or just network. He said high value men have high value contacts, and they can make phone calls and get things done. Then number 5 is visibility. They want to know basically what's your position and how much income you have. Your job title and your money gives them a certain confidence into you. So the visibility is number 5. Then number 6, utility. Basically, how can you be used for the group? Are you useful for the group? So a gang of women was like, ooh, I want a high value man. So Kevin be like, I don't think you are qualified to be to have a high value man, because you don't have these qualities that a man wants. And they like, what you mean? I ain't got the quality. Well, he'll state it. You need to be feminine, you gotta have beauty, you gotta have inspiration, you gotta be cooperative, and you gotta be submissive. Oh, the ladies go, wow. They going, wow. They're like, what? What do you mean I gotta be all that? And then that's when the debate comes, and this is what you see right now, where he just say, hey, how you look? Fresh out the shower, no makeup. What would you rate yourself? And you can't use a 7. Then once you give your rating and he ain't really feeling that rating, he gonna go into a deeper question. All right, what's your height and dress size? And then according to your answers, the debate goes even extremely to a whole nother level. And then this is the person most of the women hate. Most of these women are hating this man. And this is the story of Kevin Samuels. Subscribe, like, comment to Don Easy TV. Yeah.